MTV Music Television, we do it in stereo. I'm J.J. Jackson, and this hour I'm going to show you Wham!, also Saga. And in the studio this hour, as you can see, Mr. Nick Rhodes and Simon LeBon from Duran. Right now we've got the brand new one from John Waite. It's the new one from AC/DC. I'm JJ, and in the studio with us hour, as you can see, Mr. Nick Rhodes and Simon LeBon from Arcadia, as well as Double Duran, as we know, right? One of the things we wanted to know is why and how Arcadia came into being.
Well, it all started really about towards the end of 1984, when we were doing the James Bond thing as Duran together, and we decided to sort of split down into two separate teams. We felt after 5 years together, you know, it was about time we did something different again. So John and Andy went off and did Power Station. Simon, Roger and I did something under the name of Arcadia.
Now the new album is called So Red the Rose, and it's due out next month. The sound, can you describe the sound? Is it a little different than Duran?
Yeah, it's a lot more open than Duran is. I think it came from the fact that there was only 3 of us involved in the writing. I learned, speaking to Andy and John and listening to their music as well, they've discovered the same thing, that they can actually leave the music a lot more open. It's something we're just discovering at the same time, and we'll use again with Duran later on. But I mean, I think that's the biggest difference between this and Duran, is that, and also Duran's got a kind of tension to it. It's a very taut sounding music, and this is much more relaxed, a lot looser, a lot sort of freer, really.
There's one song on the album called Promise, which features another fairly well-known singer, shall we say, Sting. How did that come about?
Well, we were at Sting's concert for his album Dream of the Blue Turtles at the Mogador in Paris. And after the show we were having a drink together, and he was telling me what he'd been doing, all the films he's been in. I mean, the guy's got a list as long as his arm, what he's been doing, who he's been working with. And he said, what are you doing? I said, oh, you know, nothing really, we're just making an album, Nick and myself and Roger. And I said, in fact, we're doing vocals, we're doing backing vocals at the moment. Do you fancy coming along and singing some down? I thought I might as well try. It was almost like a sort of throwaway statement. And he said, sure, and it nearly knocked my socks off. And he came along 2 days later, actually just walked into the studio, and it was a real pleasure to work with him, actually. It was interesting for me, seeing the way somebody else works, another singer works. But just to listen to him singing, I mean, the guy's got a very powerful voice. He's very professional in an artistic way. It's very difficult to walk into somebody else's session and find a really useful useful line to take, a useful piece of music, something that really does add something to the track. And he did it straight away, very quickly, and it was great. It was a joy to work with him.
All right, you're going to be with us for the rest of this hour. I want to talk to you some more about the album and some of the other guests on it. We'll take care of a little bit of business, and actually we've got Roger Daltrey coming up, his brand new one, which is called After the Fire, written by Pete Townsend for Roger. That's coming up within 30 minutes. On what? Nick Rhodes and Simon LeBon from Duran and Arcadia, their special project in the new album, So Red the Rose. We were talking about some of the special guests. We were speaking about Sting. I'd like to know some of the other special guests on it, because we've had this on the music news for some time.
Well, there's a lot of people on the album, actually. It started with just the 3 of us, and then we thought, well, wait a minute, there's a few things we can't do here. So the initial nucleus was a Japanese guitarist called Masami Tachiya. And then a percussionist called David Van Teegem, and a bass player, actually a jazz bass player called Mark Egan. We worked with that lineup for a while and slowly added people. Later we added saxophonist Andy Mackay and other guitarists, Carlos Alomar and Dave Gilmore. And just sort of, we were fortunate to be able to use people as we needed them within the project.
I know that Mackay meant an awful lot to you guys, because he was from Roxy Music.
Sure, yeah. I think all the musicians we chose really were people that we'd admired and respected their work for a while or a long time.
Of course, the beauty of the way we did this was that we could actually choose the musicians to work with particular tracks in mind, rather than have the same group for the whole album.
I understand, Simon, that you played guitar on this record.
Oh dear, don't tell Andy Taylor. Excuse me, Andy, I didn't mean to. Yeah, it was fun. I've always wanted to do it. In fact, we actually got Nick to hit a note, didn't we?
Oh yeah,
dip one
my guitar's
string.
definitely suspect there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Now, a video? Have you done a video yet for the album?
We're going to do it. We're just about to go to Paris.
In fact, if we've got to hurry up with this.
Very quickly.
The plane's leaving soon.
Oh, I got to keep you a little bit longer, okay? So
Okay.
we're going to have a bit more conversation with you. I'm going to hold that plane. We're going to have actually Double Duran doing A View to a Kill. And great video. I'm glad you're here. We haven't talked to you since that happened. A View to a Kill is coming up
Plenty to
within
talk
15
about
minutes.
after this,
Bon,
then.
Simon Le Bon.